that loud. Look, the three issues, he just pointed out one with war powers are there were two conflicting versions, the House version and Senate version, and we ended up with the weaker version. And the weaker version did, as he said, the president can use force and then come after the fact to Congress for authorization. Well, that's a huge problem. Once the bullets start flying and casualties start mounting, coming to Congress and getting Congress to say, no, you must withdraw now, is a much more difficult prospect, to put it mildly. My bill would clearly enumerate only the Constitution. And it said the president can use force without authorization in only three cases: attack on the United States proper, attack on the armed forces of the United States, attack on United States citizens. Anything else would have to come to the Congress for prior authorization. The president would have to describe the scope, the objectives, and the expected duration, and an exit plan for the action. Change. Now, and Garrett didn't talk about this, the other thing they're doing, in addition to saying war powers actually enhances his authority, and the president claiming Article 2 gives him all this authority, the third thing they're using is the authorization for use of military force, which is, I think, right there. That was passed after just days after 9/11, and the country had been attacked. The original request from the Bush administration was just extraordinarily broad. We were in the minority, but we're trying to show a unified front. And it would have basically allowed the president to deem anybody, anywhere, a threat to the United States and use military force. We couldn't support that, and I went to then a minority leader, I guess she was minority whip, Nancy Pelosi, and told her, because I've been working on war powers issues, I said, we've got to tighten this up a lot and make it look more like war powers. And we did, and the language ended up saying, those who perpetrated the attack, those who assisted the perpetrators, and those, gave them, assistance in doing this. Now, the problem is we didn't put an end date on it. We thought that's pretty definitive, and we didn't say, okay, this expires after so much time. So President Obama relied on this. President Bush relied on this. That's a problem. So my bill would do a second thing, which is when we pass an initial authorization use of military force, it will have an end date. That doesn't mean we're saying that's the day the conflict ends, but we're saying that's the day your authorization ends. And if you have a rationale or a need for the American people to continue to support this activity, then come to Congress and ask again and make the case again to us. And then the third thing, which has been very frustrating, is the courts say that Congress has no standing in this matter to go to court. They say that, well, you have the power of the purse, so it's a non-justicable controversy. That is, you can cut off the funds. So imagine, the president's commander-in-chief, he's deployed the troops, we're taking casualties, we're in heavy battles, and Congress is going to say, we're cutting off your salaries, we're cutting off your support, and we're cutting off your ammunition. That's not going to happen. My bill would give Congress standing in the future should another president violate this authorization. Yesterday I did a meeting in Corvallis, and the New York Times called because they somehow knew about it and said they wanted us to live stream it. We did. It was a really, really good meeting, and they're showing some interest, and a number of the national peace groups have shown interest in my legislation, and I'm hopeful that I can convince the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee to hold hearings on it and move this bill forward this fall. Now people say to me, well, Mitch McConnell won't do anything with it. Yeah, Mitch McConnell, that's another thing I don't have with me tonight, but Mitch McConnell's graveyard of legislation would pass on a host of issues. Oh, did I bring it? Oh, okay, yeah, there it is. But, you know, I think we're really putting them on the spot because there are a lot of Republicans who are nervous about this. And the senior military in the Pentagon are very nervous about this. They do not want to go to war with Iran. They think it would be catastrophic. There would be massive casualties, you know, and then Iran's proxies would attack Israel, and then who knows what would happen in Syria, where Iran is heavily involved, and Russia's involved. And then you have the Strait of Hormuz, and when that gets blocked by mines or ships that are blown up, then you drag in China and Europe, and
North
this
Korea.
whole thing has the potential to become an international conflagration. So, very worried about this. You know, there's lots of things to worry about. It's a beautiful summer night. I wish we didn't have to talk about this, but that's why I'm moving this forward now. So we have a microphone somewhere, someone has, and they're going to, as you raise your hand, they will hand it to you. Yeah, yes.
Thank you.